What is up, everyone? My name is Sahil and I am a second year UBC Medical School student, and in today's video I'll be talking to you guys a little bit about my perspective on working hard. But first, let's cue the intro. Alright, and welcome back. If this is your first video that you're watching of mine, I want to say a big thank you and welcome to our YouTube community. On this channel, I like to make health and fitness videos, medicine-related videos, travel vlogs, and other fun ones just like this. Now, before we go any further, I want to give you a big reminder to smash that like button and the subscribe button because it would mean so much to me and it motivates me to keep making more videos, and I know that you guys enjoy videos like this. And with that being said, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my perspective on working hard and 3 things that I tend to think of when I need to work hard. But full disclaimer, I am not some robot that is always working and always doing hard work. I think life is a marathon, especially medicine, and not a sprint. So that means sustainability is key. So I take breaks, I make sure to rest when I need to, and I recommend you do the same. With that being said, let's talk a little bit about hard work. Before I do that, I do want to share a story of mine that kind of just drills home this idea of hard work that I had growing up. So back when I was in grade 7, I was in a bunch of sports that my parents had put me in. This included karate, bhangra, and also figure skating, which is a story for another time. But I noticed I wasn't really getting any awards at that time, and I was like, I need to do something that will get me an award, because that's just how I motivated myself at that time. Immature, didn't know too well, and I thought award is the best way to kind of just grow myself and make my parents proud. So then I realized there are sports award ceremonies that happen at the end of every year in middle school. And pretty much for being one of the top athletes in that sport, you get an award. And I was like, well, that's great. That means I need to join some more school sports, which is exactly what I did. Now, it's a little difficult when you're a short, chubby little kid and you're not really good at the traditional sports. I don't consider myself amazing at volleyball, nor did I have the gene for basketball. And even though I enjoy playing soccer, I didn't make the tryouts. So then I started thinking, well, what else is there that I can do that almost anyone would have been able to do, but they don't do it because of the work that's required? Because at that point, that was my only asset, my ability to put in work and hustle harder than everyone else. And I realized that that sport is cross-country running, if you consider it a sport. Running is something that everyone can do if you have legs. So it's simple as putting one foot in front of the other, and I realized that I can do this. And in fact, anyone can do it, but people don't want to do it because it's so difficult. And on that note, I was actually one of the only ones in my grade at that point that did cross-country running on that team. So I was, like I said, I was in grade 7, and I wasn't some amazing runner. And this isn't an inspirational story about me becoming a world-class runner, because I still hate it. So, long story short, when the whole year went by, I ended up winning an award for cross country simply because I was gritty and I kept going and I showed up to every single cross country practice and began to get better. So where am I going with this? Well, it goes to show that you don't have to be the best at something in order to get an award. I got an award for cross country even though I wasn't anywhere near the best runner in my whole grade, my whole class even. And trust me, I know this because we used to run laps almost daily during PE. So once again, it kind of just goes to show that you don't have to be amazingly talented. You have to work hard and you have to work smart. In this case, finding out what no one else wants to do and do those things and hustle and let that turn into a result. So to start off, one of the most frequent questions I get is, how can you always keep working so hard? How are you always studying, etc., etc.? And in my head and from my perspective, I agree. Medicine is hard, studying is hard. And don't get me wrong, medicine is a pathway that not everyone is built out for. That being said, I think hard work is very relative. I think that the 35-year-old mother in West Africa, for example, who was walking 10 miles a day just to get water for her son or her daughter or her child is working much harder than me when I'm sitting down to study. And they don't even have the option of wanting to do that or not. They have to do that. Their life depends on it because everyone needs water. And on that note, I know there's a 65-year-old man in India who is still working, driving a rickshaw or trying to make ends meet for his family. And if he doesn't hustle, if he doesn't work all day, probably even like 20 hours in a day, that means there's not going to be food on the table or food for the family to eat. And eventually that means a not so pleasant life. So when I think about how lucky I am to be able to study, and that's my only work at the moment, it kind of makes me realize that my work isn't so hard. All I have to do is sit down on this desk, learn this knowledge that's being presented to me in the most best way possible, or so I like to think, compared to other ways of learning. And I'm in a comfortable setting, in a warm room. I have food provided to me, and I don't have to stress about where my next meal is coming from. So relatively speaking, I think most of you guys can agree that my hard work is very little in comparison to the mother or the father in these developing countries who are working so hard just to make sure that they can live to see another day. So because of that, that kind of motivates me to go ahead and hustle so that one day I can go ahead and create a better future for these people. Moving on, point number 2, another thing that really just helps me to understand why I work hard is understanding that hustle really is the only controllable pillar of success. And it's true. If you think about it from an example of writing a test, you know that 1, there's going to be a test, and 2, you know the test is going to be graded. Everything that happens in between that is out of your control. You don't know whether what kind of questions are going to come up on that exam. You don't know who's going to be marking that exam. You don't know what kind of agenda they're going in to the exam marking station with. And lastly, point number 3. This one is a little bit personal and it really hits home to me and it really gets me to sit down and work hard because I have no other option. What do I mean by that? Well, chances are if your parents are immigrants and you have the opportunity to study medicine or anything that you're interested in for that matter, you are blessed. You have no option but to give it your 100%. For example, when I hear about the stories that my parents went through when they first came here to Canada, in the first few years, it gives me chills. Like, for example, my dad used to work 3 jobs in a single day. He would be working at a gas station for the morning, and then in the afternoon he'd go and work delivering pizzas, and then all of the night he'd go ahead and drive taxis. I mean, you have no excuses. We're not even working as hard as that. All that's expected of us is to sit down and study. That is like the best job there is. Like I said, you're in a controlled environment. You have all the necessities provided to us. Why wouldn't you want to hustle? Again, this doesn't apply to everyone, but majority of the people it does apply to. Another way to also think about this is that our parents worked super hard just to survive. And if you're here and have the opportunity to watch videos like this, you have no option but to thrive. You don't want to just survive. You want to thrive, not just for yourself, but for all the sacrifices that your parents have done in order to get you here, for all the tears and the hungry nights that they've gone through that they probably won't even ever tell you about or admit to. But you better believe that it likely happened. If that doesn't motivate you to go ahead and actually sit down to study and work hard, whatever that might be. This is like a medicine related channel, so that's why I talk about studying a lot. But that could be at the gym as well. Whatever your goal is, this is the thing that really pushes me to work even harder towards that. And on that note, these were the 3 things that I think of whenever I'm debating whether or not to work hard, especially in medicine and when I have to sit down to study. And I hope that resonates with you. I will say that these are my thoughts as of right now. As a second-year medical school student, maybe they might change by the time I get to my clerkship years, because I haven't had any experience. Maybe that experience is going to be so difficult that I would compare that to these people who are doing much more difficult things than myself. Regardless of that situation and when that time occurs, I will make sure to document it and refer to this video as well. And lastly, just a reminder that hard work is supposed to be hard. You are supposed to do the things that others don't want to do so that eventually you can live the life that others don't necessarily get to. And that is truly worth all of that hard work. Whatever your goal might be, I believe in you, and I hope this video was helpful and beneficial for you in just kind of understanding my mindset, and hopefully you can apply some of those things in your life as well. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to give it a like, share it with all of your friends, smash the subscribe button, the like button, comment down below your favorite part of this video and something else that maybe I didn't mention that you also think of that inspires you. On that note, I wish you guys tons and tons of peace, love, and gains for you.
Down the ground like gravel, coming back around like lasso, macro, like a vision board I see with clarity. I hustle like my name is Gary V, for more than the wealth and prosperity. Accountants was talking about equity, I'm Triple H giving the pedigree. The meaning I'm special, my specialty. I put in the work till I'm dirt in the earth, I'm moving furniture to Beverly.